Our war horses have already learned to follow a person. They undergo a sort of training here. In the future, brrr, what's that? They will help our guys deliver ammunition.
Ukrainian aviation is on fire and it continues to operate in all directions, with the MiG-29 crew destroying a Russian headquarters in Tyotkino in Kursk region. This operation highlights Ukraine's growing ability to strike high-value targets beyond the front lines, disrupting Russian command structures and logistics. It also demonstrates the expanding role of Ukrainian Air Force assets in deep strike missions, often carried out despite the presence of Russian air defenses. In recent operation, Ukrainian MiG-29 also destroyed Russian command post in Kursk and annihilated a building full with Russian soldiers, including their officers. And that's not all. The Ukrainian Air Force conducted an airstrike on the location of enemy personnel in the village of Goptarivka in the Kursk region. The video of the strike was released by forward air controllers of the UTAC unit. Judging by the published footage, the strike was probably executed using 3 small-caliber bombs, such as GBU-39 SDB, small-diameter bomb. All 3 bombs struck a group of buildings almost simultaneously, each hitting a different target. A reconnaissance drone observed the site of the attack and recorded Russian infantrymen pulling the wounded and dead from the rubble. Satellite images show that the Russians set up positions on the territory of a local farm. Despite the reduction of the sanitary zone in the Kursk region, the Ukrainian Defense Forces continue to actively attack the invaders' positions in this region. The purpose of such actions is obvious: to prevent the accumulation of enemy manpower and equipment for further offensive actions by reducing its combat potential and causing permanent losses. In addition, Ukrainian troops are thus preventing the enemy from gaining a foothold in the border settlements of the Kharkiv and Kursk regions. Thus, on April 6th, an airstrike was reported on the concentration of enemy forces in the village of Guevo, during which French AASM bombs were used. At the end of March, a strike on the Russian troops' control and observation point in Tyotkino was reported. The invaders tried to deploy a Murom long-range visual surveillance system and communication systems at this facility. Another Russian Buk air defense system destroyed, this time somewhere in the Luhansk region. The Buk is a medium-range, self-propelled air defense system designed to target aircraft, cruise missiles, and drones. It has been a key part of Russia's layered air defenses. The Russian cavalry is getting new war horses. They are currently undergoing advanced and complex training.
Our war horses have already learned to follow a person. They undergo a sort of training here. In the future, brrr, what's that? They will help our guys deliver ammunition, food and water. So that's how they live with us. They eat hay, they eat grains, and they are all doing well.
Kupansk direction. Destruction of a Russian column that tried to attack Ukrainian positions. On the Kupansk front, Ukrainian forces repelled 2 Russian assaults on April 6th. Russian infantry backed by tanks and BMPs tried to break through but failed twice. The result? 2 BMPs damaged, 2 tanks destroyed, 4 invaders eliminated, and 3 wounded. In recent developments on the Kupansk front, Russian forces have intensified their efforts to break through Ukrainian defenses. According to reports from January 2025, Russian troops attempted to cross the Oskil River using boats, aiming to establish footholds on the western bank. These attempts were thwarted by Ukrainian forces employing drones to detect and neutralize the advancing units. Despite these aggressive maneuvers, Russian forces have not achieved significant strategic successes in the Kupansk direction. Ukrainian military officials report that, although the enemy continues to prioritize this sector, their advances have been effectively repelled, resulting in substantial personnel and equipment losses for the Russian side. The ongoing engagements underscore the importance of Kupansk as a logistical hub, with both sides committed to controlling this vital area. Ukrainian forces remain vigilant, continuously strengthening their defensive positions to counter any further Russian offensives. Trump: I am very unhappy that the Russians are bombing Ukraine. He emphasized the need for Russia and Ukraine to negotiate and added that Russia isn't facing U.S. tariffs because we're not doing business with them.
Thank you, sir. Can you talk a little bit about your potential meeting with Vladimir Putin? Do you still plan to meet with him? Could that happen in Saudi Arabia? And maybe you could elaborate as well a little bit on not providing tariffs on Russia, sir.
So the reason we're not talking about tariffs with Russia is because we're not doing business essentially with Russia because they're in a war. And I'm not happy about what's going on with the bombing because they're bombing like crazy right now. They're bombing. I don't know what's happening there. That's not a good situation. So we're meeting with Russia. We're meeting with Ukraine. And we're getting sort of close, but I'm not happy with all the bombing that's going on in the last week or so. Horrible. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing.
Belgium will transfer 2 F-16 fighter jets to the Ukrainian Air Force this year and 2 more next year. RBC Ukraine reported this with reference to Belgian Prime Minister Bart De Wever. We promise to become the largest supplier of F-16s to Ukraine. And here, of course, we will keep our word. 2 F-16s for spare parts will be delivered this year, and 2 aircraft will be delivered next year. We really hope there will be more, but we are waiting for the F-35. There are no delays on our part, De Wever noted. According to him, as soon as Belgium receives the F-35s, it can immediately transfer F-16s to Ukraine. Last year, Belgium joined the aviation coalition in support of Ukraine, along with the Netherlands, Denmark, and Norway. The country's initial participation was limited to training Ukrainian pilots and providing logistical support. However, the Belgian government later decided to provide F-16 combat aircraft, up to a total of 30 units. The deliveries were supposed to last until 2028, as the Belgian Air Force received new F-35 fighters to replace the F-16. Militarny reported on the delay in delivering F-16s due to problems with the supply of F-35s back in February. The contract to supply new generation F-35 fighter jets for the Belgian Air Force was signed back in 2018, and the first aircraft were to be delivered in 2023. Since then, the first aircraft has been delivered under the order, and Belgian pilots are still undergoing training at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, USA. The initial operational readiness of the Belgian aircraft for combat use with the possibility of limited expeditionary operations is scheduled for mid-2027, and full readiness is expected only by the end of 2030.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.